Warriors NRL Fanatics here, back today with a video, and what I'm going to do is go through off-contract plays for the Warriors for the end of the 2021 NRL season. Look, I know it's only 9 rounds into the season. We're going into 9 rounds this week, and there's 25 rounds of the competition to come. But, you know, there's always question marks on players off contract at the end of the year, whether we're going to keep them at the club or we're going to let them go. And what I'm going to do is give my thoughts on those players. I go through those off-contract players, and I'm going to give my thoughts on whether we should keep them and for how long, and whether we should let them go altogether. So, as you guys know, over the last couple of weeks, we've re-signed some players lately, and we've re-signed the likes of Rocco Berry, young talent, young gun Rocco Berry. We've re-signed him. We've also re-signed the likes of Tohu Harris, which I think is the most pivotal re-signing for the club because, you know, he's a leader, you know, he's experienced, and, you know, he's very consistent, Tohu Harris. He never has a bad game, and, you know, you look at last year, he got player of the year for the Warriors. He was the Warriors player of the year. So, you know, that was a pivotal re-signing for me because if we let Tohu Harris go, you know, it's a very, very disappointing move in my opinion. So, it's great to re-sign Tohu Harris. It's also great to re-sign young gun Rocco Berry for another couple of years. And we've also seen the likes of Cody Nikorima take an option in his favour for a contract to re-sign into the end of the 2022 NRL season. So, you know, there's always lots of question marks on players we're going to look at getting or players that we're going to re-sign. So, I'm going to get into it, go through the off-contract players and give my thoughts. So, these are the off-contract players for the end of the 2021 NRL season. Now, Bunty Afoa, Lisone, Tom Ali, Josh Curran, Jackson Frei, Jereer Goolagong, Peta Hiku, Sean O'Sullivan, Adam Pompey, Tevaga, Isaiah Vagana, and Paul Turner. As you guys know already, Paul Turner is leaving the club at the end of this season. So, you know, so far, looking at that list, you know, there's some quite a few good players there. There's quite a few players, you know, that, you know, haven't had too many opportunities in first grade, but, you know, there's some big question marks. So, the first player I'm going to go through and look at is Bunty Afoa. Now, as you guys know already, I've got strong thoughts on Bunty Afoa. Strong thoughts on keeping him at the club. My thoughts have not changed in 9 rounds, 8 rounds into the season. We're going to 9 rounds. My thoughts have not changed on Bunty Afoa. We have to re-sign Bunty Afoa. Now, I'm going to go through, you know, I've probably already gone through this already, you know. Sorry if I'm repeating myself here, but if you look at last year, Bunty Afoa was very close to leaving the club. Believe it or not, I was very surprised by this. You know, when I saw reports saying that, you know, Bunty Afoa was allowed to express interest in other clubs, you know, I thought to myself, what are we doing here? Why are we going to let Bunty Afoa go? Why do we not want to keep him? And I thought, what's going on here? What's the club thinking? But the big relief for me is, you know, Bunty Afoa, out of Bunty Afoa, is he decided to stay. And I thought, wow, that's good to see, you know. Bunty Afoa wants to show that he wants to be at the club. And that was great to see because the Warriors didn't look like they wanted to keep him. And that was a big shock to me because, you know, you got to remember that Bunty Afoa last year, he was injured for majority of the year. And it was very unfortunate, you know. I felt for Bunty Afoa there because, you know, going to that year, you know, going into that season, Bunty Afoa, you know, previous season, I thought he had a good season. 2018, I thought he had a great season, you know. For me, that was a huge shock. And I'm going to say it right now, Bunty Afoa, give him another 3 years on his contract. Give him another 3 years. You know, he deserves another contract. He deserves another 3 years on his contract. And I think he should have it. So, give him another 3 years. That is my thoughts on him. And I think he deserves it. So, Bunty Afoa, for me, deserves a 3-year contract. The next player I'm going to look at on the off-contract players list is Lisone Mau. Now, I haven't really been impressed with Lisone Mau. I know people might disagree, but since coming to the Warriors from the Dragons, I think he's been a little bit, for me, he hasn't really stood up and shown he wants to be in the side each week. I don't know, but look, I personally am not sure what to say on Lisone Mau. He came from the Dragons. I thought he played well at the Dragons. I thought he had some great solid seasons there. But, I think he's found it quite hard to get into the first grade side altogether. I'm not sure what to say about him, but to me, Lisone Mau, does he deserve another year on his contract? Going off what I've seen so far, I'm not so sure. I don't know if he's performed enough. I mean, yes, he's had some solid performances, but I don't think he's really stood up and set the world on fire, in my opinion. But, should we give him another year on his contract? Look, he's been around for a long time, Lisone Mau. I know he looks only young, but he's been around for a bit now. Does he challenge the likes of Ben Murdoch-Masila? Does he challenge the likes of Adam Fanua-Blake? I'm going to say no, because Ben Murdoch-Masila and Adam Fanua-Blake are streets ahead of them. I know Adam Fanua-Blake's injured. I know Ben Murdoch-Masila, he's played quite a few different roles. He's played off the bench. He's started. But does Lisone Mau deserve another contract? I'm going to say I'll give him another chance. I'll give him a 1-year contract. But if he doesn't perform next year, I think that's about it for Lisone Mau, because, I don't think he's getting any younger, but at the end of the day, probably give him a 1-year contract. So that's my thoughts on Lisone Mau. Now, the next player on that list is Tom Ali. And you know what? I'm going to say it, lock Tom Ali in. Pretty simple as that. Look, I know Tom Ali hasn't played too many games for the Warriors, but you got to lock in young talent. I'm all for locking in young talent. We cannot let young talent go. The club over the past years has, for me, I've been hypercritical of us not keeping young talent at the club. I've been hypercritical since being a fan, since a long time. I've been a Warriors fan for a very long time, since I was a child. And, I've seen us let go young players and come back to bite us. And I've seen young players, from the Warriors that probably haven't gone to that next level, or, the players that we've let go, what can you say? But for me, Tom Ali has to be kept, and I'll give him a 2-year contract. I'll give Tom Ali a 2-year contract at the end of the day. So that's my thoughts on Tom Ali. Definitely re-sign him. The next player on the list is Josh Curran. Now, this is a very, very interesting one to talk about. I'll try and get this out as much as I can, but you're looking at Josh Curran when he signed with the Warriors, I believe he was with the Roosters previously, and I thought to myself, this is a bit of an odd signing, when we signed him. I thought, Josh Curran, that's an interesting name to re-sign, to sign. And you know what? I wasn't a big fan of Josh Curran since we signed him. Now, actually, lately, believe it or not, this year, Josh Curran, I've actually been much more impressed with him. I've been very surprised with what Josh Curran has done. And, he's played well lately, Josh Curran. And, he looked like he was going to get suspended a couple of weeks ago, which I thought was pretty harsh. And, I'm not going to go through that. But Josh Curran, I think, does he deserve a contract? Does he deserve to stay a bit longer for the Warriors. And I'm going to say, you know, last year, I don't think he got enough opportunities to impress too. So, you know, maybe I'm being a little bit harsh on him because, you know, he hasn't been given much opportunities, which, you know, I completely understand that. And, you know, Stephen Kearney didn't give him much game time at all. So, right now, you know, Josh Curran has done enough for me. You know, I'd give him another year. I'd give him 1 year contract, 1 year contract. So, yes, I'd re-sign Josh Curran for another year. Now, the next player I'm going to go through and look at is Jackson Frei. Now, you know, let's be honest with Jackson Frei. It was a bit of a, you know, I believe there was a little bit of hype over the signing. A little bit of hype because he came from the Roosters. He's a tall, strong player. And look, I can't really comment too much on Jackson Frei because, you know, we haven't seen enough of him. We haven't seen enough opportunities given to him. Believe it or not, I believe he's had a few injuries as well. You know, he's been very unlucky with injuries. So, you know, I personally would let him go. I think, you know, I don't think he's done enough. Unfortunately, you know, injuries have ravaged him, and, you know, I don't see how he's going to get into the side, even if he is fit. So, you know, for me, Jackson Frei, sorry, I think, you know, we'll let him go. So, personally, I think he'll go at the end of this year. Now, the next player on the list is Jereer Goolagong, a young player, another young player who's played, I believe he's playing for the Redcliffe Dolphins at the moment. So, look, I don't know too much about him at the moment. I haven't seen him play at all, so it's hard to really say on that one. So I'm just going to leave that one out and not say anything about it. So, yeah, I'm just going to leave that one out. So, going into the next player is Peta Hiku. Now, you know, unfortunately for Peta Hiku, it's been a season so far of injuries, you know. Very unfortunate, you know. Looking at last year for Peta Hiku, I think that was his best season ever in the Warriors. I think that was his best season in the Warriors colours. And, you know, I know there's some people that say that defensively Peta Hiku is a bit iffy at times, which I understand. Yeah, he's had a few games where, you know, he misses a few tackles, which, you know, at the end of the day, he's only human. But I know he's a professional player and he can improve on that. But Peta Hiku, he's been around for quite a bit, actually. It feels like he's been around for a long, long time. He's still only young, but does Peta Hiku deserve another year on his contract? You know, I love to keep Peta Hiku. I'm a big fan of him. I reckon he's done quite well at the club. You know, yes, he's had a few years where he's been rocks and diamonds, but, you know, I've been a fan of Peta Hiku. I reckon, you know, I don't see him re-signing. Unfortunately, I just don't see him re-signing. I don't think the club will re-sign him prior to the end of this year. So I'm going to say he'll be let go. Will he sign with another NRL club? I'm not so sure. Maybe we'll see him in England in the Super League. But for me, I don't think we'll re-sign Peta Hiku. But you never know. You know, there's a long way to go in the season. And if he comes back from injury and has a big couple of games at the end of the year, you never know. But I don't think we'll re-sign Peta Hiku. Now, the next player I'm going to go through is Sean O'Sullivan. Now, you know what? I think, you know, there's been, myself included, you know, was doubting the signing. I wasn't so sure about it. And I think, you know, since Sean O'Sullivan came into the lineup, you know, I think he's done all right. I wouldn't say he's outstanding. I wouldn't say he's a perfect player, but I think he's a pretty decent player to have as a backup in the halves. I think, you know, we haven't got too many backup options. You know, you'd probably say you can put Reece Walsh in the halves, but, you know, for me, Sean O'Sullivan, I'd probably give him another year. I'd give him another 1 year on his contract. And, yeah, no, we need some depth in the halves, and I think Sean O'Sullivan, you know, should be kept at the club. So I'd definitely keep Sean O'Sullivan. Now, the next player I'm going to go through is Adam Pompey. And, you know, what can you say? I think Adam Pompey deserves a contract 100%. 100%, you know, very, very underrated. I know he's not the flashiest of players. You know, probably, I got to admit myself, I'd admit personally myself, that I wasn't so sure what to expect from Adam Pompey. But, you know, he's proven me and many people wrong that he's a solid player. He can do the job. He can score tries. He defensively is not too bad as well. And, you know, I think he's the most improved player, you know. I think last year is the most improved player in my opinion. I thought, you know, what he did last year was great, you know. Came in, you know, for the likes of Ken Mamalo, David Fusitoa, he came into the lineup and I thought he stood out quite well. But, you know, Adam Pompey for me, lock him in. I'm going to give him a 3-year contract. This might sound crazy. It might sound crazy. People might say, oh, I'm over the top here. But I'm going to lock Adam Pompey in for 3 years. Give him a 3-year contract because I think he's done purely enough to stay on for another couple of years. So, for me, Adam Pompey, give him a 3-year contract. The next player is I'm going to go through is Jazz Tevaga, and I do apologise for this video going for a bit long. Now, I was planning to do this as quickly as possible, but, you know, I had to give a bit of a longer thought into some of these players. So, I do apologise if this video is going a bit too long, but, so, Jazz Tevaga, look, what can you say about Jazz Tevaga, you know, passionate player, brings that aggressive nature that we need on the field. You know, surely we've got to re-sign Jazz Tevaga. I know there's some people out there that might say that Jazz Tevaga is a little bit, you know, he gives away a few penalties and makes a few mistakes. But, you know, every player does that. And what Jazz Tevaga brings to the club, I'm happy to see. And he deserves to keep himself at the club. Give him a 3-year contract for me. 3-year contract. No doubt about it. Cannot let Jazz Tevaga go. He's a good player, and I would like to see us keep him long term. So, Jazz Tevaga for me, give him a 3-year contract, and you know, I like to see him at the club for many years to come. The next player on the list is Isaiah Vagana. Now, I can't really comment on this one as well. It's another player I can't really comment on too much because I have not seen him play yet. I have not seen him even a reserve grade, so I can't comment too much on it. But, you know, another young player probably worthy of keeping. So, yeah, that's the players that I reckon we should re-sign for a couple of years. There's players that have also said that we shouldn't keep at all. So, you know, it's quite a long list of off-contract players. And yet again, I would like to apologise for the video going so long. You know, as you guys know, it's always tough to decide who you should keep and who we should let go because you never know. Some players that you keep and some players you let go. Like you let go some players, you know, they could come back to bite you in the end. But this is just my opinion. This is my thoughts on who I reckon we should keep and who we should let go. Let me know in the comment section below. What are your thoughts on this? Who do you think we should keep in terms of the off-contract players, and for how long should we keep them for? What year should we keep them for? And also, what do you think? Who should we just not keep altogether? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, guys. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button because we're getting very close to 500 subscribers. The channel's at 497. So let's get to 500 subscribers in the next couple of days. We're getting very close now. So if you're new to the channel and you haven't already hit that subscribe button already, please don't forget, click that subscribe button and let's get to 500 subscribers. And also don't forget as well to hit that like button on the video as you are watching it. So don't forget, hit that like button as well to show your support for the channel. And yeah guys, I'll see you all soon for another one.